Hello everyone, I hope you're okay. Well, today is the beginning of March, which means only one thing, and that is that bud burst is in approximately 4 weeks' time. And there's a few things that I really need to get done before that occasion happens. And so in this video, I'm just going to run through probably about 3 or 4 things that I really need to get done before buds start appearing on the cane. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to use my backpack sprayer to spray some lime sulfur onto the now dormant vines so that I'm going to keep this mold pressure, the mildew spores and things like that that are sort of hiding in all the crevices along the the canes and the woody bits of the vine. I'm basically going to spray this lime sulfur in order to essentially kill the mold. Now, we're not going to get rid of mildew altogether, but if so long as we can just keep that mold pressure down a little bit, then that will really help when the vines come to life in springtime. So I've got my backpack sprayer on my back, and the reason why I'm using a backpack sprayer is because I'm not going to have so much overspray. There is going to be overspray, obviously, but it's nowhere near as wasteful than, say, using the air sprayer, where most of it will just miss the target, as it were, and go off into the air and surrounding grasses and things which we don't really want it on. So yeah, that's why I'm using a backpack sprayer. I'm using a lime sulfur mix that I've made earlier on in the season. And yeah, basically I'm just going to give a really good liberal coverage all over the canes and all over the vines. So I'm just going to show you exactly what I do. Don't be too judgmental on my pruning here. I probably will go back and just get rid of some of these extra sort of buds that I've got on here. I've got too many on this one, for example. But I hope you can see that this surface here on the bark is so rough and it produces fantastic hiding places for all the mold spores and things like that. And so we want to get this all really nice and soaking with sulfur. And that's hopefully what I've done here. Now, it's just personal preference, but when I spray with the hand sprayer, I tend to spray both sides. So it does take a little bit more time, obviously, but I really know that I'm getting full coverage on the total vine. And I try and go down the stem right down to the floor and obviously across the horizontal canes as well. And that way, I'm pretty sure that I've got most of the vine, 99% of the vine, covered with my lime sulfur. I'm probably being a bit over generous when I say 99%, but as long as I'm getting most of it, then at least I know that I'm having a fighting chance to get rid of that mold before spring comes along. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of vines to do, and I no doubt will run out of lime sulfur in my backpack. But you know, it's a job that needs to be done, so I'm just going to crack on with that now. Once dry, it sort of dries to a sort of milky white covering. Probably can't quite see it at the moment because this one's still a little bit wet, but as long as it dries to a sort of whitish colour, then at least you know you've got a good covering over it all. Now, the thing about lime sulfur is that you can really tell whether you've got a good concentration because it absolutely reeks of sort of, well, sulfur, I guess. It's a very distinctive smell, and you know that if you can smell that in the air, you're getting a really good mixture on the plant. And it doesn't really do the plant any harm, but it does kill the things that you want it to kill. So yeah, it's quite good. Now, sulfur is not the only thing you can put on. You can put on things like Bordeaux mix at this time of year, so long as it's legal in your country. And copper is a fantastic fungicide. In fact, it's such a good fungicide and herbicide and things like that. That's one of the reasons why they put it on the bottom of boats to stop algae growing. So if you're allowed to use copper in your area, then again, that's a fantastic thing to fight mildew. But just check the locality that you're in before you spray copper liberally all over the place. It can be quite toxic to some animals as well. Okay, the next thing I've got to do is we've got to join all those wires that I've managed to break whilst pruning with the electronic pruners. The 2mm galvanized wire is ever so easy to cut through when you're using automatic pruners, and I've done it in about half a dozen places, like an idiot that I am. And of course, they need rejoining. Now, there's 2 ways you can rejoin wires together, and we're going to take the easy way out and use these gripples. Gripples are great because you literally just shove the wire in at one end and shove the other half in the other end, and they miraculously just join together in a really strong fix. So I'll just show you exactly how we do that. Okay, so Sonia's just going to shove the wire through the top hole there. And I'm not going to put too much through because we haven't got a huge amount of slack on these cables, but you just push and then all of a sudden they'll go through and you literally just can't push it out. So we've got a little bit sticking out the end there, and there's absolutely no way that's going to come through the other way. And if we put the other one in on the opposite side, then all of a sudden the wire is miraculously joined together, and there's no way that that is going to pull apart. So we can put, I suppose, up to 400 kilograms of tension on this wire, and that gripple won't fail. So that's good enough for us anyway. So back on the hook and on to the next one. Okay, the next thing I've got to do is I've just got to tidy the place up, to be honest. I've got all the canes that I've snipped off when I was pruning left in the aisles, sort of in clumps really, and I really need to get those out before the grass starts growing. From previous experience, once grass starts growing, it sort of intertwines in the stuff that you meant to have picked up ages ago, and it just makes life a lot more difficult to pick up because it just seems to weld itself to the ground. So I'm just going to go round picking everything up and actually having a jolly good bonfire, which is always very satisfying, isn't it? So yeah, here we go. Right, I feel like we're getting somewhere now with this vineyard. The next thing I'm going to be doing is a little bit of weed control, to be honest, because this time of year it's absolutely fantastic to really hammer down those grasses and weeds that we really don't want. And one particular area which is often forgotten about is the perimeters of the vineyard. This is basically where we're trying to prevent rabbits and deer and anything else coming in for that matter. And if I just show you close up exactly what happens when grass goes out of control, it probably is not so evident at this time of year, but trust me, it can be a bit of a problem. Okay, so we're right down at the base here. We've got all sorts of problems right down by the fence. We've got brambles, which are the curse of our lives, to be honest. We don't want brambles. We've got loads of grasses and weeds that we don't want as well. And that runs all the way along the perimeter into the far distance over there. Now, the problem is that once the brambles and grasses take over, they climb up the netting or the fence line, and they tend to just pull it down just through sheer weight, to be honest. And yeah, we can run into a few problems. It can pull the fence off the netting off the fence posts, and it can just completely smother this lower section of the fence. So what I'm keen on doing is really just getting rid of all the weeds, but the netting altogether. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using weed killer. Now, I know I'm going to get into a whole heap of grief here, and if you've got any better suggestions, then definitely put them in the comments because I'm all ears. But what we really don't want is weeds and brambles growing up this fence line, and the quickest and easiest way, as far as I can see, is to use a general purpose weed killer. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to run along the strip here, along the fence line, and just basically make a dead zone between the fence and the rest of the strip here. So that's what I'm going to do now, and I'll just wait for all the grief that I'm going to get in the comments for doing this, but I can't see any better way of doing it. And when you've got a huge area to do, then yeah, if you've got a big area to do, then this is definitely, in my eyes, the quickest and easiest way to do it. But again, if you've got better suggestions, then definitely let me know. Okay, so that's about 400 metres of perimeter fence line that we've done with the weed killer. So hopefully when the weather starts warming up, we won't get that fantastic growth going up the fencing there. Okay, so the last thing we've got to do this weekend is to actually put some fertiliser down onto the ground. Now, we're the middle of March now. I've done this video over a couple of weeks, to be honest, so it's the middle of March today. And I think it's about time I start thinking about getting some nitrogen into the ground, because nitrogen really helps bud burst and leaf development. I think if I did it any sooner than now, then we would run the risk of any fertiliser that we put down running off with the heavy rainfalls that we may or may not have, and that would just be a total waste. But I think because we're about 2 or 3 weeks away from bud burst, I think we stand a good chance of getting that fertiliser down into the roots without it running away. So I'm going to be using a granular fertiliser, as you can see here. It's got a really strong smell of ammonia, which is the nitrogen element element to it. But I think if I just sort of sprinkle it down onto the bases of the vine line here, then we should be okay. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing now, and that would be the conclusion to this weekend's work, I think. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then click the like button and all that kind of thing. And as always, a huge thank you to my Patreons that really help this channel out. If you want to get more fact sheets and information and background videos and behind the scenes and things like that, then maybe I'll see you over on the Patreon site. But until the next video then, I'll catch you later. Bye for now.